Hey, hello my fellow property managers, Mark Cunningham at Grace Management. So I've been doing these videos like this for, it's been several years. And I have a confession to make. That is, I skipped a week. I know every 2 weeks these go out, and they, like clockwork, they have literally for years. I've been so busy. I've been doing a lot of traveling and speaking. And so 2 weeks ago, I was almost getting up to my deadline of getting this out, and I wasn't quite ready. So, don't tell anybody, but I just skipped a session that went out. Now, I know most of you probably know, because you're like, Mark, I knew that because my week was ruined. Like I always get every 2 weeks, I get the email from you, and I can't get through 2 weeks. So my apologies. I'm sure it caused a lot of grief and strife in your life, but don't worry, here we are. We're back, and I want to talk to you because I've been saving up. I'm so anxious now that I've been off for a month not doing this. I want to talk to you about where your next real estate sales lead is going to come from. So here is I'm going to read to you a phone call that I received. I received a voicemail, and this is what the voicemail said. Hey Mark, my name is Matt. I'm a property owner. I have a fourplex on 14th and Jasmine by Colfax in Denver, not a great part of town. I've been managing it myself for a long time, and I've got it half occupied right now. The other half is empty. It's sitting empty because, well, I just haven't wanted to deal with it, man. I'm just sick of dealing with this property. So I want to talk to you guys about possibly taking over, starting off to manage the 2 occupied units. We can see how that goes, and maybe even have you manage the other half as well. If you'd give me a call back, I'd appreciate it because I can't do this anymore. Thanks so much. Now, I appreciate Matt's honesty. I do. I appreciate his candor. He's just sick of it. He bought a property he shouldn't have bought. Now, what would you do with that lead? What would you say? Would you just ignore the lead completely and be like, no, man, that sounds like a nightmare. I don't want to touch that property. That's a fair statement. Or would you call him and just be like, hey man, sorry, that's just not a good fit for us. That's not the part of town we want to manage. And many times we as PMs have this conversation. How do I say no, Mark? How do I gently say I'm not interested in managing your property? Well, I'm going to give you a better solution on what to say to Matt. Because Matt, I suspect, may be where our next sale is going to come through. Because the next sale you get, and more sales, I believe, for your company and mine, are going to be coming to you and me through owner-client leads that are just not a good fit for the property type. Matt sounds like a great guy. He sounds like a great guy. I'd love to work with Matt. I'm not going to touch his property with a 10-foot pole, but I'm not just going to tell him no. I'm not just going to tell him that. Instead, I'm going to say something like this. Hey, Matt, thanks for reaching out. Got your voicemail. So Matt, tell me a little bit more about your property. I'm going to give him a minute to kind of repeat what he said. And I'm going to say, gosh, Matt, honestly, we're not actually, I hate when people start off with honestly, because it sounds like you're not being honest otherwise when you say that. But it's a tick we all go to, right? Well, honestly, to tell you the truth, don't say that. Well, Matt, we're not currently accepting those types of properties into our portfolio because, and then you need to fill in the blank, because properties in that part of town are really hard to rent, Matt, because multifamilies have a lot of turnover right now, because in Denver, condos and townhomes, there's not a lot of rental demand, and we're having trouble getting those properties rented. Whatever, and be honest, whatever you want to say. I'm sorry, we're just not accepting properties, that's the way you say it, we're not accepting properties into our portfolio in that part of town that are over that age, that are in that condition. I'm sorry, but we're just not accepting those properties. But you don't pause there, you don't stop there. You pause there, and then you say this. But I'm curious, what's your long-term investment plans for this property? Or another way to say it, so why did you buy this property? What are your long-term plans and goals for this property? And Matt's going to say this, looking in my crystal ball. Well, I bought it a couple years ago. I thought it seemed like a good investment. Just hasn't really panned out for me. Or maybe someone who calls you doesn't have a problem. They're not sounding as desperate as Matt. Maybe it's just I've got a vacant property. It's such and such. It's this area of town. It's this, and I need you to help me rent it. Oh gosh, I totally understand. Unfortunately, we're not taking those types of properties into our portfolio because in that part of town, it's really hard to get things rented. So we're not managing in that part of town. Now, before I tell you the next part, though, of what you need to say, I want to pause and thank the sponsor for this video, CredHub. I just had a call this week with Steve from CredHub. He's the owner of the company there. They're actually rolling out a new thing for CredHub that impacts you and me as PMs. They're offering free positive tenant reporting to one of the credit bureaus for free. That's pretty good. This is a great PR opportunity for you and your tenants. Hey, Mr. Tenant, you pay your rent on time, I will report it to the credit bureau. This isn't part of a resident benefit package. It's not a fee on that. This is just a free thing they're going to be doing. This is great. We are in such a bad light in the property management industry. At a minimum, you should be reporting on-time credit payments. Now, you should use, I believe, their full service, which is you also report delinquencies. This helps report delinquencies to the credit bureaus. It helps you increase your credit. They've got a full package as well. But they also want to come from a good place and say, we just want to help tenants right now. We want to help PMs improve their image. Credit Hub can help you do that. Jump on their website, tell them Marc sent you, at least look at the free credit reporting to one of the bureaus for on-time rent payments. Okay, so what do we say? So let me go back here. We say, right, so why'd you buy that property? Well, I bought it as an investment property, got a great interest rate, whatever they say. And then we pivot to this. You know, as a professional property management company, we work with a lot of real estate investors. And what we are recommending to our current owner clients who own properties similar to yours in that part of town that are one bed, one bath condos that were built pre-1900, right? Whatever, those types of properties, what we're recommending is that they sell those types of properties right now because they're just not good long-term investments in the current market, and they transition those properties into something that's more of a single-family home in this part of town, 3-bed, 2-bath, because those types of properties on average, they rent longer, they have less turnover, they have less maintenance, taxes are a little bit lower, we don't have the HOAs, and they're just better long-term investment properties. That's one way to say it. Okay? Now, another way to say the same thing, rather than say this is what we recommend, if you want, you can go like this. Well, Matt, I get it, man. I get it. Unfortunately, that's not a property that we're able to help you with. It's not in a part of town that we're currently accepting properties into our portfolio because bad part of town, hard to rent, da-da-da-da. But I'll tell you what, Matt, if that were my property, because I'm an investor as well, what I would really consider doing with that property is liquidating it, selling it, and converting it into a property that's going to be a better long-term investment. We work with a lot of investors, and we find over time that the best investment properties are like this. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So see, now I'm being an investment advisor. Now I'm not just saying, no, I won't manage your property. I'm saying, gosh, I get it. I would recommend as a professional you do this. Or if this were my property, I would do this. I'm being an educator. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm just saying, here's what I would do, or here's what we're advising our clients. Then you can kind of close that up with if you'd like us to assist you in that process, we'd be more than happy. I'd be more than happy to give you a valuation. Well, I've already got an agent I'm working with. Okay, great. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but that's what I would really consider you do. And if at any point in time you want us to show you some potential other investment opportunities that may be a better fit for you long term for your portfolio, reach out. Happy to help. Now you've just reestablished yourself as a property advisor in this space. And so now when Matt does reach back out to me, even if he doesn't use me to sell it, he uses his own agent. When he's ready to buy something, who's he going to call? He's calling Marc, because Marc already gave him advice on the types of properties he should be buying. Now, whether or not he uses me to buy in that other part of town, I've just established myself as an educator expert with Matt. And by the way, if Matt hires me to manage that property now, we've re-leveled the playing field, haven't we? He didn't just hire a property manager to come, he just thinks he wants to hire someone to come in and manage his 2 really crummy properties. Now, if we work together, we've leveled the playing field because I've explained to him the types of properties that are worthy of his money that he should be investing in. I've just leveled the playing field. So when you start getting those leads that you're like, oh man, I don't want to touch this property with a 10-foot pole, don't just say no. Practice and rehearse. And the first time you do this, it's going to feel awkward. You're going to stumble through it a little bit. Have your talking points out, just kind of like I did right there. Have your talking points to tell and educate that investor client on the best thing that they should be doing, in your opinion, to move their property into a better long-term investment. It'll help you bring on new clients, get more sales, grow your portfolio. Hey, have you listened to our podcast yet? Have you joined our Facebook group yet? Check that out. We've got a ton of information on pmbuild.com, our forms packages, our training. We've just re-upped and changed around completely our one-on-one coaching. I didn't have any one-on-one coaching slots open. I've got a few now because we've changed that around. So if you want to spend some time with me one-on-one, drop me an email. I'll be happy to share with you how that's working. But my friends, as always, until next time, I wish you success.